Russiagate, Blabbergate. Gate is a suffix that has spread beyond the United States into countries all over the world, and it represents a great scandal. Watergate and Monica-gate coined the term in the mainstream media. At the time, they were two of the biggest and most controversial U.S. government scandals known to us commoners. But not anymore. In March of 2016, WikiLeaks opened one of the darkest, most sinister gates ever. Pizzagate. We understand that it will not be easy for you to see and hear all that you are about to see and hear, taking into consideration the perpetrators and victims involved. But this is the world we live in. It is the reality of those who rule over it, and it must be covered. It must become known. It must be taken out of the arena of internet theory and broadcasted for the world to see. The content and images you are about to see are horrifying. They will anger some of you, disgust some of you, shock some of you. But I believe it is necessary for you to finally wake up and understand we are living in a dream world. And it's time to come face to face with the dark reality that millions of innocent children have had to face. It's time for you to come face to face with your enemy, in every sense of the meaning. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. It all started when...
Woke up, you blacked out last night, and you look at your phone and you find pictures of you molesting a child.
You freeze. You're in shock. I mean, children aren't supposed to handle that sort of stuff.
Have any of you enjoyed this special pizza here tonight?
This month we have 5 fresh pizzas for your enjoyment. We also have 4 surviving pizzas. What does that mean, surviving pizzas? From last month's session.
He held on to that child all the way to the end. I had to put that shit down. You've been made.
That those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles.
This is what happens with us babies. And it gets
Someone says, hashtag kill room. Someone else says, just rinse it off when you're done.
Tory, symbolism, Rima, eat what thou wilt.
And they force you to do things, and they photograph it, they film it. The whole purpose for that is to either blackmail you into staying with them or split your mind up so that you don't even remember who you are.
The FBI has been informed as to everything that has come out of Benassi's mouth.
Pizzagate has generated a lot of attention over the last couple of years. A wave of information began flooding in via social media and YouTube, revealing a dark, elitist underworld of pedophilia. The few people who were in the know or who stumbled across this dark reality were seeking real answers, and they wanted to present their proofs to the public, but most of them were silenced as fake news and conspiracy theorists. Some were even murdered. But the independent investigators online finally received a voice in Ben Swan on his nationally televised investigation segment, Reality Check. For those of you who do not know about Pizzagate, pay very close attention, because there is so much we cannot cover, and we will be moving very fast from here.
Pizzagate actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. Now, to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles. So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into the story? Well, again, read any mainstream report and they indicate that Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times, and that the owner of that place, James Alfantis, is a friend of John Podesta. He was actually named, this is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now this is where things start to get strange when you research this story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private. But an archive search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have already proven there's nothing to the story, right? Well, actually, no. And that's what you need to know. For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this. Not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question. Not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
This breaking news, along with those darker, more graphic proofs that Ben could not air on his program, created such an outrage among the people that some could not handle their anger and resorted towards more violent methods.
On a gunman with an assault rifle targeting a Washington, D.C. spot that's at the center of a fake news story about Hillary Clinton and a close aide. Our senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is there in Washington and has all the details for us. Good morning, Pierre.
Good morning, Robin. This case shows how fake news can lead to a dangerous situation. Edgar Welch, 28 of Salisbury, North Carolina, has been arrested and charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. And police say that Welch told them that he showed up at the D.C. pizza restaurant to get to the bottom of what appears to be an utterly bogus story about child abuse promoted on the internet. How scary was the situation? He allegedly pointed the gun in the direction of an employee and fired the weapon inside the restaurant. The origin of this crazy story was a posting on WikiLeaks involving Clinton campaign manager John Podesta discussing a fundraiser with the owner of the restaurant. Somehow that posting morphed into a baseless allegations of crimes involving Podesta and Hillary Clinton, lies becoming dangerous. George?
Pierre Thomas, the senior justice correspondent at ABC News, seemed more focused on debunking the allegations than covering the actual story itself. His conclusion: fake news surrounding Comet Pizza was the reason this man went in looking for answers, and the mainstream media echoed the same reports.
Carolina man finds himself in big trouble after an incident in a Washington, D.C. restaurant. As for the motive, police say the Salisbury man showed up to investigate a conspiracy theory about a child sex ring involving Hillary Clinton, an allegation that first appeared on a fake news website. Welch is charged with assault with a dangerous weapon.
This is not anything new. Sources like the BBC, New York Times, The Guardian, Washington Post, and CNN, and many others have historically and consistently covered up any revelation of child sex trafficking or abuse by the elite in government and big business, and all of this is proven. Just look into the Rotherham scandal, the Norwegian scandal, the Pentagon scandal, the Franklin scandal, involving a child sex trafficking ring within the Bush senior administration.
The Franklin cover-up begins with one man, a prominent Republican figure of the 1980s, Lawrence King, or Larry King as he was known, and no, we're not talking about the talk show host. Larry King ran the Franklin Credit Union and a few other businesses in Franklin, Nebraska, a man who chartered private jets, hosted extravagant parties, and maintained bodyguards, was simply in charge of a credit union in a little town of Nebraska, which happened to be located near Boys Town, a Catholic institution for orphaned youth. King's bright yellow sports car was frequently seen on the Boys Town campus, and later, King was linked to embezzlement. He'd stolen over $40 million from the Franklin Credit Union, and his financial records revealed a close-knit relationship with Boys Town. King's lavish lifestyle burst into flames in 1988, just before the Republican National Convention, when 7 victims of King's child abuse and prostitution stepped forward. The victims claimed that King took them to various parties that he threw for the Republican elite, and at these parties, the children were abused. Rusty Nelson, the photographer for Larry King, attended these parties, documenting powerful men in compromising positions with minors as a form of blackmail for King. In a court hearing in 1999, Rusty Nelson revealed his close relationship with King. Nelson relayed that he had witnessed King phone President Reagan when other individuals couldn't resolve a specific problem. In other words, a man with abuse and child prostitution allegations had a direct line to the then president. One of King's victims who spoke out 2 years before there even was a Franklin scandal was Paul Bonacci. Paul relayed that at the age of 8, he began attending King's parties as a child prostitute. Paul claimed that Democratic Senator Barney Frank had abused him, and he was given midnight tours of the White House, only to be taken to a separate location shortly thereafter and abused. A judge awarded $1 million to Paul in his testimony against King, but King never paid. The other victims who spoke out against King were awarded only doubt and contempt for naming their abuser. A list of 271 victims of King's abuse was compiled, all recalling the same story: being taken to parties by King and abused by prominent figures. The New York Times revealed that both federal and state investigators were given thousands of files from abused children and their testimonies, but instead of bringing those victims justice, Douglas County and federal grand juries ordered the files to be sealed, neglected to interview witnesses, and even filed charges of perjury. Both grand juries agreed that the 2 victims who spoke out were abused, but deduced that the adults they testified against were innocent. Instead of getting these victims the help they so desperately needed, the state-appointed attorney only mocked the allegations. Some of the victims were thrown in jail and discredited by local media. Larry King was never called to testify. Evidence shown to the grand jury had been tampered with. Victims were targeted as a result of their testimonies. After giving his testimony, one victim was found in a hospital room dead. There was evidence that he was drugged and beaten prior to his death. In total, there were 15 suspicious deaths surrounding the Franklin cover-up. In 1993, a documentary detailing the Franklin cover-up, called The Conspiracy of Silence, was produced by the Discovery Channel. In the day it was set to be aired, it didn't. Rumors were that someone paid $500,000 to revoke the television rights. But now you can find the documentary online and watch it. So why is the Franklin cover-up important to bring up now? I believe if we never learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it.
The media immediately started discrediting the witnesses. The witnesses came across in the media, in the Omaha World Herald, especially, as the criminals.
The last 3 victim witnesses were demolished by the press, particularly the Omaha World Herald.
And they didn't ask me very much about Larry King or even Alan Bear at all. They treated the allegations that I made about the people who abused me almost like a joke.
Apparently, some alt-right folks were combing through Clinton campaign emails hacked by Russia and published by WikiLeaks and noticed there seems to be more references to pizza and pizzerias than they had expected. A lot of uninformed, gullible people fell for the Clinton Podesta sex ring theory. So WikiLeaks, Alex Jones, and these subreddit subgeniuses, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, grow the up.
They were always called conspiracy theories. They would always report that the police said there was no evidence or that the theories were debunked. The New York Times, Guardian, and Washington Post have been caught deleting posts and articles weeks after publishing them. For those people who take their daily dose of the world in 30 minutes or less from the likes of those corrupt channels, Pizzagate was closed for them, though it had already been blown right open. They moved on with their lives, forgetting any mentioning of satanic sex rituals, child rape, torture, and trafficking. But thankfully, and unfortunately for a few, they pushed on. The likes of Seth Rich, who is said to be behind the 2016 Democratic National Committee email leaks that helped bring attention to all of this. He was fatally shot and killed. And John Podesta, the man who had thousands of emails leaked implicating him to Pizzagate, said this: "I'm definitely for making an example of a suspected leaker, whether or not we have any real basis for it." That shot rang out and let everyone investigating this case know just how real Pizzagate is.
How many girls are missing in D.C. this month? Hundreds. But until LL Cool J tweets it out, nobody does anything.
Right now, that's a good question.
Peaceful messages, letting people speak.
All these good folks are calling for and have looked at overwhelming evidence that most reasonable people would agree warrants an investigation into the D.C. child trafficking pedophile scandal, commonly known as Pizzagate or Pedogate. And that's why we're here today, to demand that the authorities investigate this, and if there's any guilty parties found, indict and arrest.
And we've got sign number 4 over here.
They're supporting sex trafficking, and it's the world.
We all know Anthony Weiner, right? Now just think about it. His wife's boss is running for the presidency of the United States. And what's he doing? He's sexting an underage girl.
Our kids to come and play at.
About an organization that had so infiltrated the American government.
The more money that they can accumulate, the less there is for the rest of the rituals to invoke. Yeah. It's that hate. You know, when I started thinking in those terms, suddenly other things.
Right now, that's a good question.
The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material.
whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. There's a 27-year-old who works for the DNC who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States.
The Podesta emails released by WikiLeaks in 2016 are riddled with incoherent code words about pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, cheese, handkerchiefs, swimming pools, among so many other things. To understand just how grotesque these messages are, you have to understand the symbolism in the language. To know this is to know why this entire scandal has become known as Pizzagate. In the sick underworld of pedophilia, hot dog refers to boy, pizza, girl, cheese, little girl, pasta, little boy, ice cream, male prostitute, walnut, person of color, map, semen, sauce, orgy, domino, BDSM, pillows, drugs, oysters, sedatives, and chicken, young boy. You probably never heard about this for a couple reasons. Of course, pedophilia is extremely evil and illegal, and the wealthy elite do not want you to know that they are kidnapping, selling, raping, torturing, eating, and murdering little children. That's why they communicate through the dark web, a place you probably know little about. And even if you did know a little something about it, it's a very difficult world to access. And even if you could, would you even have the stomach to stay there for more than 20 minutes? These code words have existed there for a long time. It is in their culture, and they are used by child sex traffickers, child abductors, child pornography producers, satanic child torturers, and those who are browsing this black market for their next child victim.
On the darknet, you have access to anything. It's basically an uncensored internet when it comes to being able to buy and sell anything you can imagine. It is a billion-dollar industry to trade in child pornography. The child pornography industries and going into the human trafficking industries are just like forums where you would go and buy drugs, which we will see.
Blogger Ace of Swords claims the code words used are, quote, very well established early internet and dark web code words for child porn, pedophilia, and BDSM, end quote.
And I think it's the same girl. As you can see, her stomach there is covered with something. He comes over with some type of handkerchief and he's wiping her. He was trafficked in Houston, Texas by the elite pedophile ring, a human trafficking of women and children and babies. Go forward. Oh my God. It's sideways.
You got a nice body on.
See, this is a new one.
There are places on the dark web known as red rooms. It is where people or children are kidnapped and broadcasted over live stream while they are being raped and tortured and murdered. This was represented in an independent Serbian film. This is how all of that snuff, as you have heard it, gets produced and sold on the dark web.
former bassist from the Scorpions, Ralph Reicherman, has admitted that he once attended a snuff party where someone or multiple people were murdered for the entertainment of the guests, who paid up to $100,000 to attend. Reicherman, originally from Germany, bumped into a paparazzi from TMZ who asked him about Berlin's popular fetish parties, and this was his stunning response.
I went to one time, I've seen really bad.
Was it like a donkey show, or?
No, actually, I think they actually kill people there and stuff. They pay like up to like 100,000 people to see people get
executed.
I'm not kidding.
There are actually viewers that log into these sites and pay with anonymous cryptocurrency, not only to watch these innocent people face the most horrendous and despicable acts imaginable, but to participate. They can pay more money to command the torturer what to do next to the victim. It is very similar to the movie Hostel.
T'es vraiment malade. Espèce de pute. Espèce de petite pute.
Je reçois beaucoup d'argent pour toi. Alors dis plutôt que c'est toi ma petite pute.
Mais qu'est-ce que vous faites? Salaud! Espèce de fumier, lâchez-moi! Vous êtes malade! Lâchez-moi! J'ai dit lâchez-moi! Arrêtez!
These animals are also doing this to little children, and these sites have been linked to Pizzagate.
Something I posted the other day about baby Brianna. I had posted up the New Mexico KRQE News 13 story about her, and it is one of the worst abuse stories I've heard in a long time. Now, what does this have to do with the deep web? Well, I posted this story, and somebody wrote me and told me this. They had told me that all the videos of what the parents, the mom, the dad, and the uncle all did to the child, they had uploaded all of it to XPlay. Now, is what a lot of people don't know is XPlay is a site that is on the deep web that is, people upload their rape videos of them raping people. They upload the zoophilia stuff of them raping their animals, and they upload stuff of them raping and torturing children. This site is very illegal. It is not one that most people could stomach anyways. However, why am I posting this? Why? You know, because the abuse went on and on and on for this baby's entire lifetime. Every one of her ribs had been broken. Her skull had been fractured many times over. She had bite marks, both old and new, all over her body. She had been raped multiple times. Multiple times. Until they finally killed her. And with that being said, all of this was being uploaded after it was done each and every single time. This could have actually have been stopped. This could have been stopped. This could have been a baby that would have been taken away from them the first time it happened. Had police actually known to look on this site, because a lot of people said that there was actually enough stuff on there to figure out who the people were. They didn't hide their face or anything.
Through the dark web, you will not only find sites that sell children, sites that teach you how to ritualistically rape children or eat children. You will also find these types of games that are being played on the deep web. Sad Satan has become known for its satanic and pedophilic undertones and subliminal messages.
What's that noise? What is that? What is this noise? Help me? What? Oh no. Yeah, no, I can't.
If you search through sites such as Vimeo long enough, which are public domains that mirror the deep web, you may come across this woman, Maria Marshall, who has been strongly linked to Pizzagate. These are just a few of what she calls her child manipulation films that she shares with the public.
If you remember Maria Marshall, I posted a few of her videos a couple months ago. Her website got so much views, the bandwidth usage maxed out, and the website went down. The website is now back up. I did get the majority of the videos, downloaded them, and put them together for you. The majority of them are disturbing, especially the last one. Please try to take into context what they're saying.
I love you, Mommy. I hate you.
This is Amy. Amy's got blue eyes. And has beautiful yellow hair. She's my little baby. She's a good sleeper. She sleeps until 12 when I breastfeed her. And then I don't keep her in the bed, just in case I roll over and crush her. And it's good for her to get a sense of her own individuality.
The pedophile community also communicates with each other through social media, via sites like Instagram and Twitter. They are loaded with cheesy satanic encryptions. There are a couple of accounts in particular that investigators exposed, and they are strongly linked to the Pizzagate scandal. Users working on Midnight Cheese Pajama Factory and J. Blair Smith. You don't have to be a genius to interpret the messages these two are trying to send out. Here is a white van with the back opened up. The white van phenomena is more than a meme you can find on the internet for abduction. It's real, and children go missing by the thousands every year. Virginia, the back door to Washington, D.C., has noticed the highest spikes in child abduction over the years, especially on Halloween.
And we begin at 11 o'clock with developing news. An intense search is underway after a young woman is grabbed off a Philadelphia street and shoved into a car.
Who can do such a thing?
And what's more concerning is surveillance video of her abduction Sunday night. You see a man wrestling Carlisha to his car as she puts up a fight.
And the suspected abductor is also accused of another violent crime.
Tonight, suspect Delvin Barnes is in custody. He's described as a very dangerous predator who was wanted in Virginia on an attempted murder charge. The motive for the kidnapping?
Don't know, other than the fact he's a thug, and this is what he does, apparently. So the people like this don't necessarily, there's nothing that makes sense. Don't even try to find it. So the people like this don't necessarily, there's nothing that makes sense. Don't even try to find it.
Police say an 11-year-old boy was riding his bike Monday night along the 300 block of North San Gabriel Avenue when a suspect traveling in a van jumped out and approached the child.
Two boys said that when they were on their way home from school, a man in a white van asked them to come to the van and come to him.
There were other attempted child abductions in May and June, but the incidents all involved different vehicles. Police say Friday's attempt was in a van.
The kids described it as a white work van, panel van with no windows on the side.
Using this trash can, the man you see on this surveillance tape and his accomplice tried to abduct a worker from this salon as she arrived to open up Tuesday morning.
They stick her into a trash can that they had brought, one of those large kind of like township, like a 55-gallon trash can. They then wheeled the trash can out front.
But police say as they began pushing the trash can with the victim inside toward this white van, something spooked the abductors.
Is live in Rock Hill to explain why they want everyone in that area watching out for one particular white van. Paul?
These new flyers blanketing the metro area. Jessica Ridgway missing now for nearly 4 days.
A white van was parked on the side of the road. The girls walked on, and the van followed them.
How fast did you run? Can you tell me?
Oh, fast.
Demetrius describes that man as a black male, about 30 years old, wearing a red hat, red shirt, and red pants. He was riding in a black van with the words Southeast Bloods spray painted on the outside. He was riding in a black van with the words Southeast Bloods spray painted on the outside.
We turn now to other news. More on that New York City cop charged in a bizarre plot that involved cannibalism. The officer allegedly planned to cook and then eat women, starting with his girlfriend. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles has more. She joins us live tonight from Forest Hills. Strange story.
Very strange, Diana. Gilberto Valle lived in this building for about a year, and the most disturbing thing about the story are the emails outlined in the criminal complaint. One of them said that Valle wrote he wanted to cook a woman slowly over time to allow her to live as long as possible. Have you spoken to him since his arrest? Would you like to speak to him? Mm-hmm. Federal prosecutors say 28-year-old Gilberto Valle, a 6-year veteran of the NYPD, conspired to help others abduct, rape, torture, cook, and eat women. They say they've been tracking his email since January, discussing how he would cook a woman, possibly his own girlfriend, in his Forest Hills apartment. The complaint says he was asked by a co-conspirator, quote, "How big is your oven?" Valle responds, "Big enough to fit one of these girls if I folded her legs." Investigators also say Valle illegally accessed a federal database to create a list of 100 potential victims he planned to sell writing, quote, "This is very risky and will ruin my life if I'm caught. I really need the money and I can't take under $5,000.
A judge in New York has ordered the release from prison of a former police officer dubbed the Cannibal Cop, after overturning his conviction for plotting to kidnap, kill, and cook women. U.S. District Judge Paul Gardeffi said there wasn't enough evidence to support a conviction.
They had Johnny in an abandoned house outside of Sioux City, Iowa, for about 14 days, and then a man came from Colorado who they called the Colonel, paid the kidnappers, and then he basically bought Johnny.
What kind of things was Johnny involved in?
Prostitution, pornography pictures, molesting other kids at gunpoint like Paul did.
2 years ago, a convicted child molester surfaced and said he helped kidnap Johnny. He told an incredible tale of an underground network of adults who kidnap and sell children for sex.
Noreen decided to meet him face to face, to confront the person who says he helped kidnap and sexually assault her son. Bonassi claims that an organized ring of pedophiles abducts children and forces them into a life of child pornography and prostitution, and that it happened to him.
And they force you to do things, and they photograph it, they film it. The whole purpose for that is to either blackmail you into staying with them or split your mind up so that you don't even remember who you are.
Kenny ended up owing Spinks hundreds of pounds. When he couldn't pay up, Spinks suggested an alternative method of clearing his debt.
He says the only way you can pay it off is to get young boys. And what he meant, and what I totally understood, is he wanted young male boys to go with him and make sexual films.
Many pictures of me were taken, not just as a child, but also as an adult, that were pornography, and they're out there somewhere. That's another way the coven makes money, and those videos that they make are sold all over the world. One of the biggest buyers is China.
700,000 just in America of missing people. How many did you hear about from the daily media? You never hear about it. You never hear about 700,000. You never hear about 7. You never hear about 70. Where'd all these people go? The media covers it up. And we look at the fact that these top echelons in the government above us, the politicians, the judges, you better believe they have it on illegal immigrant smuggling, because these people then are taken and used as sacrifices for the cults at the top of America.
How do they murder people? All the children's posters that you see that are missing, they're pretty much dead. They have underground caverns in the mountains, and they keep the children and the kids and the women and men there. And then at a certain time in mid-September, October, they take them out, and they're so... Remember when I told you I could make people get away from me? Like, they'd make the people so numb with curses and stuff, and they'd also drug them up, and they'd take a sacrificial knife and they'd start from the chest and move all the way down to your abdomen. And then that's how they sacrificed, and they collect the blood and they drink it.
Literally, hundreds of children are kidnapped and murdered in satanic human sacrifice rituals every year at the hands of powerful businessmen and elite politicians who think it's going to give them more power.
This is a concerted effort. This is a concerted effort. Politics of personal destruction. You, John Podesta.
All right, well, you see where I'm going.
Okay. Yeah.
When I vote, that's because I have business ongoing, whatever the hell they're doing.
What's in your closet, John Podesta? Big Podesta? Big Soros? Do you want us to play these games? because we're playing to win.
Darkdocs.com is recruiting. We are a free, open source archive of documents, videos, and audio files. The concept is simple. We upload files, create thumbnails, and code them into our pages. This creates a responsive interface for users similar to Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and countless other video platforms. Instead of just clicking and streaming, we offer the ability to directly download the file and keep it forever. This allows you to archive, replicate, syndicate, duplicate, modify, using your videos, graphics, projections, and more. It needs to stay free and anonymous with no advertising. We need your help if you know how to use FTP, copy and paste basic HTML, know how to use WordPress or Photoshop. We want the homepage to have new content daily. We want our sections to grow. This will take a hardcore technical team. What we do is not hard, but it takes time. The more people we can trust that are working on this, the better it will be for everyone. There is no financial gain in the info war, only pride in being part of what could one day be the world's largest, free, anonymous, source of multimedia to educate the masses. Email info@darkdocs.com to get started. This is information warfare.